Italian steaks. They're about close to 3 inches thick. I'm gonna put these on the pit tonight. The most important lesson you can tell these kids today is to stay alive. One wrong move in this generation here, somebody will be burying you next week. You gotta be smart out here. You gotta know how to move. It's not like in our generation. Everybody has guns now. You have to be smart. Okay, we're gonna let these things sit. Come back and check them in a minute. Alright, look at that. We like it ripe and green where it keeps all of its vitamins. You know, a lot of people cook broccoli and it turns lime green. You ever notice that? That's not the way you cook your vegetables. You want your vegetables to be hot, super green, and crunchy. You want a crunch to them. You want to still have that snap when you eat them. You want them to look like this. Beautiful, beautiful color. Caramelization. That's what I'm talking about, honey. Get it, girl. Just telling me, don't. I had to run to the store for a minute, but let me expound on what I said earlier when I said that the best advice that you could give a kid nowadays is to stay alive. I meant that when I said that. You know, we tell kids all the time, hey, the company you keep, you need to watch who you're running with. You need to watch who you surround yourself with. You need to go ahead on and take care of your business and go to college and not get caught up in these streets. Because in our African American communities, there's a problem that's going on. Everybody has a gun. It isn't like it was in our days. Every kid has a chip on his shoulder. They're driving the crime, the death rate through the ceiling. Back in our days, we knew that we were coming home to our mothers and fathers. We knew that. Now, we got into a lot of stuff, but we never got into anything that really leads to death. We never involved ourselves with sin that leads to death. The Bible says that there's sin that leads to death. So when I tell a kid to stay alive, what I'm telling him is to move smart. You see, here's the thing. Nowadays, after a kid leaves from under your protection, if you look at where society is and how immoral it is, and look at the music and look at everything that's going on around us, it's hard for a kid nowadays to walk a straight line because of the influence that's around everywhere. Everywhere you look, it's there. So after they leave from under our protection and they're alone and they're in this generation that's full of kids that are quick to run and do evil things. It's a wicked generation. The kid is gonna make mistakes just like we did, but we didn't live in this era. So my advice to my son and the kids at school that I run across, I tell them, we talk about God all day long. I chastise them to get it right. But I know how it is in these streets because I'm watching my students die all the time. So my advice to these students are to stay alive. Because if you can stay alive, that means that you're gonna come to a day where you learn from your mistakes. That you understand what it means to mature into a young man. We have kids that are dying as little boys. They haven't even reached the beginning stages of manhood. or even reached a level of understanding that the way I've been living has been wrong, and move on and go get married and have children and go on to college and do the right thing. See, if you can stay alive, then that means that you're going to eventually come into understanding what life is truly about, and even understand who God really is. But if you're just out here just moving with the culture, anything can happen to you. You have to move smart out here. I preach God to my son day in and day out. Over the phone, when I see him, I'm dropping verses 24/7. But I know the moment he leaves and he goes out with his friends, he could be minding his own business and bullets start flying. Stay alive. Stay alive, young man. Stay alive. All of you children out there, stay alive so you can have the privilege of growing up to be responsible adults that have kids, and you're going to pass that same message to them. Stay alive. That's all you have to do, is stay alive. If you do that, I promise you, you're going to be all right. All right, guys. And this is how we're spending our New Year's Eve. It was so good. And you gotta end it with Snapple. I like the apple, but I've been drinking it so much I had to switch to the fruit punch. Snapple. Everybody have a wonderful New Year's Eve. See you on the next.